Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. This is my name is Carolyn Beasley, and I am a life coach. Today, in this video, I just want to talk real quick about um, surviving. Ways on surviving narcissistic. Coming from a narcissistic parent, or some of you may have had both parents that might have been narcissistic. I know for me, growing up, my father was had some narcissistic ways, and most of the people on his side of the family, they were all narcissistic, most of them. And so I want to uh, kind of share something with my own life, my own experience. One of the things that growing up in a household where you have a narcissistic parent, I know one thing that it will do is that it will affect your self-esteem, and it'll also affect your emotional well-being as well. It'll also affect that too. You don't really you don't feel good about yourself. You don't feel uh, like you don't feel like you are good enough, like you don't measure up some kind of way. um yeah, that's and throughout life, I know for me, especially when I got in my early adulthood, and it did cause a lot of setbacks in my life. In certain parts of my life. So um, but at the time, I did not know that because of my upbringing and having a narcissistic parent, I did not know that that was the root cause of why I experienced a lot of the setbacks that I did. And there is a sense of shame and humiliation that goes along with it, which can put a stall or a stunt uh, in your mental or your emotional development. So some signs that your parent is narcissistic, or you may have came from you may have grown up in a household with a narcissistic parent, is that sometimes they can be that parent, that particular parent can be childish. They can be selfish. They can be childish. They can be selfish. Um, they can be they can also want attention just for themselves. Attention seeking with some. Uh, Sometimes they'll do or say anything to have control over their children, even when their children are grown. Sometimes, especially when their children are grown, um, they a lot of times um, during the growing up years, you will notice, or you may have noticed, that they will be absent in a lot of important events in your life, like football. Maybe you played football or basketball or whatever. They never show up to any of your games. When you went to graduate, they didn't show up at your graduation. Things like that. They don't. They didn't do anything to celebrate you. Um, when you were able to accomplish or achieve some things. Um, they can be very harsh. and very harsh and opinionated behind closed doors. Uh, but when they are in front of other people, they can be pleasant and loving and kind and all of that. And I got some family members right now that does that. They they can be loving and kind and all of that in front, when they are in front of friends, neighbors, or whatever, the people that they trying to impress. But behind closed doors, they are a total different person. They are a tyrant. Sometimes they will fail to provide any emotional or nurturing support. I know that when I was growing up, I didn't get that. I didn't get that, especially from my father. I got some of it from my mother, but I didn't get any from him at all. Um, and then sometimes your parent, if they are narcissistic, they will use you for personal gain. Um, you know, they and I got family members that do it now. Uh, that that they will use their children, to manipulate their own kids to get things out of them, and which I think that's 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 wrong. But you just got some people that when you dealing with somebody that's narcissistic, they'll do stuff like that, and and then they will also show signs of being irritated or just being annoyed by you for whatever reason, especially when you need something from them. Maybe it could just be their time and their attention that you just might need, but they will seem like that they will be annoyed and bothered with you because they don't have it to give. So, and I guess that's just a way that they respond or react to it, you know. And they do exhibit mood swings. You never know when you're dealing with one of them, or when you're dealing with somebody that's narcissistic, or they have narcissistic ways. A lot of times you just never know what kind of mood they're gonna be in. They're gonna be in. Sometimes the behavior can be volatile at times. uh this they have this up and down mood swing. Sometimes you don't even want to approach them. I know with my dad, growing up, I did not I didn't approach my father, because especially the only way I know what type of mood my dad was in was like in the morning when he got up to go to work or whatever, is you know as how, I would judge by the first thing that he would say or what he would talk about when he got up, because a lot of mornings he would get up mad, just raising hell for no reason. And so with that being said, me and several of my siblings, we just managed to just stay out of the way. We just we were just uh so glad that he got dressed and got ready to go to work, and when he left home, everything was cool. uh the uh the the environment was less, you know there was less conflict, I guess you can say. And we were actually kind of more comfortable with him being gone. And uh and another thing, they will also project onto you as well. They Everything that they accuse you of is actually who they are. So like for instance, back when I was in my, I guess I was in my 20s back then. And I have a brother that's a year and a half older than I am. And for some reason, my dad always seemed like he had a problem with him. My brother Bobby. And he always seemed like he had a problem with Bobby. He was always putting him down. He was always saying, just negative things about him. Always putting him down and things like that. And so my mother told him one day, she told my dad, she said, well, the reason why you act like you feel like you cannot stand Bobby is simply because you see a lot of yourself in him. And that's why. And that, and that made sense to me. That made sense. Sometimes I do believe that our children can be so much like us that they can be too much like us. And if we're not careful, that can cause one to project, onto that child. Now those were some signs, a few signs, that you may have a narcissistic parent, or a parent that has narcissistic tendencies. I also want to talk about 7 ways that you can survive it. Now you can overcome it. One of the ways for me was, at first you have to accept it. You have to accept the truth that, hey, I come from a dysfunctional family, which I did. I came from a dysfunctional household. My dad he had narcissistic ways, and his side of the family was like that. I noticed that on my mom's side, they were, her side of the family, they were a lot more, loving toward one another. And, they got along. They showed love and care and concern for each other. But on my dad's side, they was constantly against each other, at each other. So, but one of the ways to survive it is that you got to accept it for what it is, or for what it was. And then, so when you can understand that people with narcissistic personality disorder or traits, they are damaged individuals just like you. Then it will allow you to be self-compassionate. When they turn their rage or their anger or anything like that towards you. Also, you need to be willing to not only recognize but resist gaslighting. Do not let your parents gaslight you, because they will. If they narcissistic, they will do that. Even with their grown children, they will do that. Try to make you think that you're crazy. Matter of fact, I experienced it as a kid too. So I quickly realized that because my dad was so stubborn, he had a lot of stubborn ways, and so I realized that I was not going to make him see anything my way, or even though I was telling the truth, I knew what I was saying was right. I did, he just, once he shut it down, I didn't even bother to even, I didn't even try to even talk about it anymore. I would just let it go. I talked with my mother about it, because she was a little bit more understanding and a little bit more patient, and But yeah, just have, just recognize that, and learn how to resist it. Um, and you can do that without, fighting or getting into some kind of bad conflict with them. And so you can one way that you can survive the gaslighting too is that by working on your own emotional well-being and your own self-esteem. You work on those things about you, and that will also help you not only to be able to recognize the gaslighting, but also resist it as well. And then practice, self-compassion for yourself. That was something I had to learn to give it to yourself. Give it to yourself. It is I learned that it's an excellent way to heal. Yeah. And also, it's an excellent way to exhibit self-love or develop self-love for yourself as well. Um, and learn how to put your needs first. Because, sometimes when you have a narcissistic parent, sometimes they will try to, um, you know, it's always them. Their needs has to come before yours. And it was like that growing up. You know, I know for me, my mother was the one that made sure that my siblings and I had things that we needed, like the groceries, clothing, or whatever it is that a parent has to provide for a child. My mother was the one that made sure that we had those things. My dad didn't do that. Even though my dad was a hard-working man, he did get up and go to work every day, but he didn't bring his money home. Uh, when it came to like helping the family and helping my mother, and feed, making sure that the household was taken care of, my father didn't do that. My father would get paid on Friday and take his paycheck and go out on Friday and Friday night and get drunk and go party and go spend his money on somebody else. That's what he did. And but yeah. So also you need to set boundaries as well. You do have to set boundaries with your parents as well, just like you would with your own children. You have to set boundaries. Um, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, your boundaries will be tested. Yeah, they will be tested. That's the truth. They'll be tested. Um, narcissists, or sometimes people with narcissistic traits, um, they like to break boundaries. So you have to stand firm and reinforce those boundaries by following through with any consequences when those boundaries have been violated. Yeah, even if it means you may have to cut that parent off for a while or whatever. Um, but you must be clear about what you will and will not accept, because after all, you are an adult. You are an adult now. So, um, and that narcissistic parent is going to have to recognize, okay, well, my son and my daughter is grown. They got their own life. They got their own home. They got their own responsibilities. And they will intervene in that. If they are narcissistic, they will intervene in that. They can cause issues for you in your own home, especially when it's something that they want from you, and they can't get it, and turn around and make you feel bad if they can't get it from you, whatever that might be, you know. Um, Now, Another way that that you can survive this um, is getting a support system. You know, I think that for me was once I got hip to what narcissism was and start learning more about it. I watch a lot of other um, um, I watch a lot of other influencers on YouTube talk about it a lot, and so I've been. It has opened me up to a lot of stuff that I had been witnessing and been around m- most of my life. Especially in my childhood years, in my early adult years. Um, so so getting like getting some kind of support group of other people who may have experienced narcissistic abuse, something like that, that would be good. Uh, um, you know, uh, Sometimes it helps being around somebody who knows about it or have experienced it, but has either overcame it or is overcoming it. They are on the road to healing or they have been healed. So um and then you must build your own self-esteem and your own self-confidence. That was something that I had to do for myself. I had to, first of all, I had to learn how to love myself first before I could be able to do those things. So you do have to learn how to love self. Show some compassion for yourself, as well as, like I said, and then uh, um, your self-esteem and your confidence will all follow along with that. You know, seek events and activities that will increase your confidence and will allow you to feel better about yourself. You know, so try to, like I said, it goes back to that support system. But like I said, following a lot of YouTube influencers that talk about narcissistic abuse and ways of dealing with it, knowing what the signs are, knowing the different types of narcissism. All of that was a help for me, um, and plus um, my relationship with God, that also was a big help for me as well. And learning to forgive, that's really, forgiveness is the ultimate overall road to healing, from any kind of abuse or mistreatment from anybody, whether it's from the past or whether it's right now. I think that being able to forgive, it frees you. It frees you and give you the ability to be able to move on and overcome some things as well. And of course, you can always seek out professional help. For some of you who may need to see a counselor, go and get some mental health therapy. Sometimes that helps. Just being able to talk about the problem, just being able to talk about it sometimes is good therapy. Is good therapy for me. Like being on this channel, talking about it and talking about a little bit of my own experience and my own past. That's very therapeutic for me, uh, because I never really talked about it much with anybody, not even people that was close to me. So but doing it, getting on here and sharing it with you guys, you know it helps, to be able to just freely just be yourself and talk about it. And like I said, and hopefully that my message will be a blessing to somebody else that may have experienced some of the same things that I have experienced, or they too may have had a narcissistic parent. So, but That's all I have to share with you guys for today. But like I said, I hope that that you like this content. I hope it's blesses somebody. And if this is your type of content, please like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate all the support. If you are looking for life coach services, if you think that that's something that you might can benefit from, you think that I might could be somebody that you might could talk to, um, then that information is also in the description box below. So I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys have a blessed and happy new year. And I'll be back with another video soon. So I guess I'll say I'll see you next year. All right. Bye-bye.